Hey YouTube, it's your boy Danny and
Flex time over here.
Flex time. Hey,
Oh my
Flex
goodness.
fans.
And it's your boy Gibbles, guys. What's going on?
Welcome to the Daily Flex. We're back at it again.
I know, guys. Be on the watch out for our new Yu-Gi-Oh channel, the Karibo Mayhem Bros, where you can catch us on the standby phase.
Yo, so that's Gibbles. Gibbles is gonna be the head of the Kariba Brothers.
The Karibo Brothers.
Anyway, Gibbles, you want to tell them? I mean, they obviously can see what it is, but
Yeah. So, guys, we have a deck profile we're gonna do today. Something interesting that I've been wanting to build for a while. We're gonna do Super Quantums. It's not necessarily complete. The spells and traps are kind of all over the place, but it is a pure Super Quantum build. I don't like to play engines. Yeah, like Dangers, Invoked, anything like that. So anything you see from me is not gonna be anything like that. Like, I'm always gonna play mainly pure builds. So that's what this is. But this is just a blueprint. You guys can take it as you want and tweak it as you will. Okay.
Right. Flex out right here.
So we'll get started.
thanks, Flex fans.
Oh my goodness. First one we have up, guys, obviously we run 3 of the Super Quantum Red Layer. Super Quantum Red Layer is really good when you don't have any monsters on the field. You can special summon them from hand. It's a level 5. And all the Super Quantums have an effect when they go to the graveyard or when they get summoned. So for Red Layer, when he gets summoned, you can target one Super Quant monster from your graveyard and add it to hand. So that's really good. And then when he's sent to the graveyard, you can actually special summon one Super Quant monster from your graveyard onto the field. So that's also really, really good. So run him at 3. The next of the Super Quant monsters we have is going to be Super Quantum Green Layer. And, oops. And with him, his summoning effect, when he's normal or special summoned, you can actually special summon a Super Quantum monster from your hand. So that's a good way to get out your monsters faster. Because the thing with this deck, a biggest thing is, because a lot of the monsters are big, 2 of the monsters are big, summoning them all out, I guess trying to swarm is going to be a big issue. So any way you can special summon monsters out would be a good thing. So his effect's really good. And then when he's sent to the graveyard, you can discard one Super Quant card and then you can draw one. So it's a good way to get cards into the graveyard. And let's say you have a green in hand and you get sent to the graveyard and you send, let's say, a Red Layer. Red Layer's effect goes off because he's being sent to the graveyard. So he doesn't necessarily have to be on the field. So that's also a thing to keep in mind. The next one we have is going to be Super Quantum Blue Layer. It's our level 3. So with her, when she's normal special summoned, you can add one Super Quant monster to your hand, or Super Quant card from your deck to your hand. So that's a good way to search out your monsters, your spell cards, your trap cards, anything like that. So that's really good. She's also a emergency teleport target. So that's also really good. And then her effect when she goes to the graveyard is you can target up to 3 Super Quant cards in your graveyard and then shuffle them into your deck. So if it's late game, it gets sent to the graveyard, you need resources. It's a good way to recycle your monsters. So.
That's me. Deal.
So next up, guys, we have our level 1, which is Super Quanto Fairy Alphan. And that's why when you look at the cards, guys, you'll see in their effects it says Super Quant, because not all the cards are Super Quantum. The pilots, like the Rangers, I guess you can say, are Super Quantum. The support cards are Super Quantum. And it goes the same thing for your extra deck monsters. They're Super Quantum and not Super Quantum. So the fact that it says Super Quant actually helps out because it counts as everything. So next we have Super Quanto Fairy Alphan. Her effect, the big effect you're going to be using is when it's summoned, you can tribute itself to target 3 Super Quantums from your deck with different names. And then your opponent picks one of the 3 to summon onto the field. So that's also an easier way to get some of your bigger monsters out. And also her other effect is you can, I believe, send... Let me see. Yeah, you can target one Super Quant monster you control, and all face-up monsters you currently control become that monster's level. So that's also a good way to get all your monsters the same level, so that way you can go into your XZ summon plays or things like that. So that's really good. And the last Super Quantum monster we play is I play 2 of White Layer. You don't want to play more than 2 White Layer. I know I'm playing 3 of everything else, but the fact that White Layer is level 7, and its main way to summon it out is you have to discard a non-light monster. It could be kind of bricky. I was running at 3, did a lot of play testing at 3. It doesn't work at 3. It's too cloggy, it's too bricky. So run it at 2. It makes more sense to do it that way.
What? No curtain.
And so when its card is no more special summon, you can send one Super Quant monster from your deck to the graveyard. And if you do, this card's attribute and level becomes the same as that monster. So guys, it's almost like a Foolish Burial. It's kind of like a Foolish Burial. Just kind of better in my opinion. So, and when I use that effect, I don't use it for the level and the attribute. I use it more for the fact that if I send something to the graveyard, I get their effects. And I get my material in the graveyard a little faster. So it's real good. I really like it. Oh, and then when he's sent to the graveyard, you can actually add one Fairy Alphan from your deck or graveyard to your hand. So it's a good way to get those. So that's going to be all the Super Quantum monsters. And the last set of monsters I play, I don't play necessarily hand traps. Never really liked hand traps. Ice Blossoms, Ghost Spells, all that mess.
Ooh, my butter.
So I play three effect veilers. It just kind of helps out, you know, slows the tempo down, things like that. So that's with me.
Bring back my girls.
And that's gonna be it for the monsters, guys. So now we're gonna move on to the spells. And one of the spells you have to run 3 of is gonna be your field spell, which is gonna be Super Quantum Mech Ship Magna Carrier. You run 3. It's just, it gets you your plays going, it gets you going. It's an extender. So you can discard 1 card, then target 1 Super Quantum monster, and you can special summon 1 extra deck monster, or extra Super Quantum Mech Beast XZ monster with the same attribute. So usually with XZs you need 2 monsters. So let's say with with Muddy Mud Dragon. So White Layer, you're able to summon 1 White Layer, but you don't have any way to summon out another one. You don't have another one in hand. You can activate Magna Carrier. Let's say you have either another white in hand or like a Fairy Alphan, something. You can send it to the grave, and you can XZ with just the 1 material. So that's really good. So, oh my goodness. And then also the other effect is you can send it from the field to the graveyard and target 3 Super Quantum Mech Beast XZ monsters with different names you control and or in your graveyard, and special summon 1 Great Magnus from your extra deck. So that's also another way to go into Great Magnus. But to be honest, guys, with this build, you're not really going to go into Great Magnus that often. You go more into the new Link, which we'll get to in a little bit. And because we run 3 field spells, 2 terraforming, makes sense. Self-explanatory. And also, even at that, guys, if you want, which I can get into a little bit later, you can actually sub these out for just anything else, because there's actually other ways to search out Magna Carrier. There's there's a trap card that I'm going to show you that does that. The next card we play is Alphan Call Appeal, which is the new one that just came out. So it's just a protection. So if a Super Quant monster you control is destroyed by battle, you can special summon 1 Super Quantum Mech Beast XZ from your hand deck or graveyard that is specifically listed on the XZ in its text, but its effects are negated, and you can only activate it once per turn. So it's real good. A little situational sometimes if you end up getting it, but it could be real good because if if your White Layer gets popped, you can target it, special summon out the Dinosaur that goes to it, And then with the second effect, you can summon out a white layer. So it's good for recovery because, guys, this deck too has issues with recovery. So if your big board gets destroyed, then yeah, it's not good. So next we have Foolish Burial Goods and regular Foolish Burial. I don't know what you're thinking. Why are you running Foolish Burial Goods? Like, what spells or traps can you even send to the graveyard? Like, what makes sense? And so, like what I was getting at earlier, what you want to send with Foolish Burial Goods is you want to send the Alphan Strike. Because more or less, you're not really going to use its first effect to shuffle your opponent's cards. Because it's not really going to be till late game that you're going to end up with the 3 Super Quantum monsters on the field. And especially them being different names. But the second effect is if it's in the graveyard, you can banish itself plus a Fairy Alphan. And you can actually activate a field spell from... You can actually special summon the field spell from your deck straight onto the field. That's not the field spell. But the field spell onto the field. So that's what I was saying. If when it comes to the terraformings, you want to run just one or don't want to run it at all, there's another way to get out the field spell. So let's see. So next up we have some of the 1-ofs that I play. One Twin Twister just for back row pop. One double summon. I've been testing with double summon, and it actually helps when you do pull it, because you'll find yourself in a situation where you're gonna need an extra normal summon. And like I said, I don't play any other engine in here. So what is it called? The Gem Knight one. What is it?
Oh, the
Brilliant Fusion.
Engine.
Yeah. So I don't run the Brilliant Fusion engine. So a double summon works for me. One Dark Hole just to get rid of your opponent's monsters. Raigeki, if you have a Raigeki, you can use Raigeki. I don't have Raigeki, so there's that. One Monster Reborn just to help out. The one Emergency Teleport to help you get out your blue layer. One 1-for-1 for when you need to search your Fairy Alphans. And one Upstart. Upstart's optional, but I run it just for the extra draw power. And that's going to be it for the spells. Next, we're going to go into the traps real quick, guys. There's not that many. There's only 6. And the traps is probably going to be the biggest things that you guys can mess around with. I don't have a conventional trap lineup, but we're going to run the new one, the Magna Formation, and the one Magnus Slayer. So what the Magnus Slayer does, if you guys already don't know, is when you have a Super Quantum XZ monster on the field, you can activate this to target itself, or to target your Super Quantum monster, XZ monster, and it gains attack equal to its rank by 100. So it's a good way just to give you guys an extra attack boost. So, and then the other one, so it's a continuous spell card, and I actually like this one. I wouldn't run it more than one, but when your opponent cannot target Super Quant cards on the field with card effects during your main phase 1, and then you can target Super Quant XZ monsters you control, attach one other face-up monster you control to it as material, and you can use each one once per turn. So I like the whole can't be targeted, or cannot be targeted main phase 1. You know, it'd be perfect if it was just couldn't be targeted at all while it was face up, but main phase 1 is gonna usually, sometimes you don't go into your main phase 2 anyways, so I enjoy that. And then next, just for protection, I run 3, which is gonna be kind of weird, but 3-dimensional prisons just to, you know, clear your opponent's board.
I personally like the dimensional.
Yeah, I mean they're nice and everything.
I love Raigeki. My Raigeki.
And then the one Solemn Warning just in case. But yeah, if you guys want to run a whole Solemn Brigade, I mean you can take out the dimensional prisons to run the Judgment, the Strike, and things like that. So, and that's gonna be it for the main deck, guys. It's a 40 card main deck. And next we'll go real quick into the extra deck. And then these are going to be... First off, we're going to go into Super Quantum Mech Beast Magna Liger. And each Ranger has its own solo Zord. So for the Red Ranger, we're going to go into Magna Liger. Pretty simple. Its effect, once per turn, you can detach one material from this card, target one monster in the field, destroy it. Pretty simple. And if you have a red layer attached to it as material, you can actually activate that effect during either player's turn. So it's a good way to disrupt your opponent and whatnot. So, and then at the end of and then once per turn, you can actually attach one Super Quant monster from your hand or field as an XZ material. So if you have a red layer in hand that you just can't summon, but you end up with Magna Liger in the field, you can activate its effect to attach a second red layer to it. So, and each one of the XZ monsters is going to have that effect to attach once per turn. So next we have the one for the Green Ranger, Ouroboros. Ouroboros, there's the Book of Moon monster, its effects. So once per turn, you can detach one XZ material, target one face-up monster in the field, change to the face-down defense position. So really good. And then again, if you have a green layer attached to it, it can actually be activated during either player's turn. So that's that. Then 2 of Grand Pulse, and Grand Pulse is kind of like your MST essentially, where and then this one cannot attack unless it has an XZ material. But once per turn, you can detach one XZ material from this card, then target one spell trap on the field, destroy it. And if you have a blue layer, it can be activated during either player's turn. So, and then Grand Pulse has a big defense stat at 28. So if you need to sit on something, that's usually what you sit on. And next we'll get into the new one, the Dinosaur, the White Ranger Zord, Luster X. And with all of them, I actually like Luster X the most. So he cannot attack unless he has material, but once per turn you can detach one material from this card, then target one effect monster in the field, negate that face up a monster's effect until the end of the turn. And this is a quick effect, guys. So, it becomes a quick effect if it has a white layer as material. So, that's also really good. And usually, with all your Zords, you're usually going to have the proper pilot for the Zord, or the proper Ranger for the Zord. So, all these quick effects and things, it's not going to be an issue. And same thing with the other ones. Once per turn, you can attach one Super Quantum monster to it from your hand or on the field. So, and then next one we run, the one Great Magnus. When I've been playing with this, I haven't actually gone into Great Magnus. That's why I only run the one, because like I said, you don't really go into it. But we'll just go over it real quick. So when this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 3 Super Quantum Mech Beast XZ monsters with different names from your graveyard. So that's a good way to get your XZ monsters back to the field to recycle them. And then it actually gains effects based on the number of materials with different names attached to it. So if it has 2, then once per turn during your main phase, which is a quick effect, you can detach one material from this card and shuffle one card on the field. So that's good. If it has 4 materials or more, it is unaffected by card effects, except for Super Quant cards. And if it has 6 or more materials, your opponent cannot add cards from their deck or their hand by card effects. So if you're able to get it out with a whole bunch of materials, at least 6, then you basically shut your opponent down, and they can't play Yu-Gi-Oh! We all know that is very fun to...
That's a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
I like Pokemon.
I like Pokemon.
So, so then the last one we're going to go into real quick is going to... Well, not the last card, but the last theme one, I guess, the last Super Quantum one is going to be the new Link, which is actually... I know it's a Link 3, but it's actually real easy to go into. And let me just read you its effects. So when it's Link summoned, it cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. And each time a Super Quant XZ monster with a different name, let me see. Is every time a Super Quant monster with a different name is summoned to one of the arrows, you can actually draw a card. So let you draw its your draw power. And then if a face up XZ monster this card points to is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one super quant monster from your deck with the same original attribute as the one destroyed. So it's a good way to recycle your monsters too. But really good. I would run it at 2. Don't run it at 3. I don't think you need it at 3, but 2 is pretty good. And so the last ones we're going to run is 1 Cerberus, obviously for the monster removal. The 1 Phoenix, I run the 1 Phoenix for the spell and trap removal. Then 1 Saryuja, because you know Saryuja. And then the last one is going to be, just in case, Babushka, just in case you need to lock your opponent down and whatnot. So it's like a last effort, essentially. So yeah, guys, so that's my pure Super Quantum build. It's not anything crazy, it's not anything out there. Like I said, this is more of a blueprint for you guys to mess around with. And I really like the ratios that I run, the 3 of each of the Rangers,
minus white layer.
Minus the white layer at 1, 2. So, but yeah, guys.
So if you guys liked it, get it your boys. Let us know what you think.
Yeah, suggestions are always good, guys.
Yeah, suggestions are always welcomed. If you can find a reason for Gibbles to put in the 3rd white layer, let us know. Rudy, any closing thoughts?
Yeah. That's my thought.
Yeah. So Gibbles, anything? Closing thoughts?
That's gonna be it.
All right, guys. Catch us on turn 2, and hopefully you like the deck profile.